All right, what's the vibes, guys? How you guys doing? We have missed one day, which was yesterday, and I kind of found out later today that we had missed one day, but that's fine. We can kind of catch up on that and see what is happening. Some of the things that we've seen an expansion on gold today, Wednesday, expansion here. Okay, we just got to Thursday, but yesterday, Wednesday. Yesterday, Tuesday was expansive, right? And if you remember, I was telling you how I was buying on Monday and it was good buys, right? But going into Tuesday, I kind of like switched my bias a little, and I want us to just really talk about it because the question here, right, before we go there, the question here really is. Are we going to continue to see, this rally? Is this gold finally saying, okay, enough of the sales for the year? And I want to start going higher, right? We have seen lower highs, lower lows, and even on the daily time frame, we're still bearish. But this move in here is strong. And the question is this now the gold buys that has been going all around the internet, or is there something else? And that's what I'm going to really, really dice and talk about today. And at the end of this, you have a stance. You'll be able to say, okay, I think I want a bullish gold or I want a bearish gold. Everything I'm going to say is still based on my opinions and interest. This is not financial advice of any sort. So do your due diligence and make things work for yourself. Right, that's really my hope. Now let's actually look at what we have. If we look at Tuesday, I want to show you what I did on Tuesday. So I was able to buy all of this move into Asia and all of that. Right, was good because I used that to pass a phase one of an account, right? It's actually a $5,000 account, and I was able to pass phase one just by buying gold on Monday. But I found out something crazy, right? With prop firms, I really just started trading prop firms in June, and so far I've been able to get funded 100K from GoFunded, 50K from Maven, and now I just got this 5K, right? Which I've passed phase one. So typically, if I'm trading evaluation stages, I always like to fast track the evaluation phases. And this might cost me, losing some accounts, right? Because I'm going a bit heavy, 2% per trade, right? And looking to actually go quickly with the evaluations. I see it as an investment vehicle when it comes to prop firms. If I can spend $1,000 and then get a payout of $3,000, that's a good investment, right? Now that $1,000 could be, three, four, five accounts, and just two gets passed, right? Why the many three gets blown, right? So it's not like a live account because I want to move faster. Now, if you're just starting out, you don't want to take this approach, right? This is just how I do it, and I move, right? So I got this 5K, and with that gold trade on Monday that I showed you, right? With the gold trade on Monday that I showed you, I was buying, inside of here, right? In Asia session, I put out it's in the last video, right? I was taking the trade live, so you probably would have seen it 21 o'clock, right? I took that trade, it was somewhere inside of here, and I held it all through into London session, and that was a good trade. And going into Tuesday, as we started to see this breakdown, price ran out Asia's high, right? And I saw breaking market structure here, right? Fits my model perfectly, and I looked at that as a sell. So I got in here, I sold this bearish order block, right? And I wanted to see price return all the way lower. That ended up being a loss, right? So I was taking out inside of here, and that was yesterday's trade, right? We finally saw that price, continually or continue to move higher in here. And I like to trade Asia session as I will be trading also today. I don't know, guys, if you think we should trade Asia session together, you can put it in the comments. We can do a review of live session and just do that together. It's always very interesting in Asia, right? And going into, let's talk about this, right? Break here, but it was only returning back into the high of Asia's and return higher. One of the things I want you to know is that as wherever you have a drawn liquidity is also a reference point. Like a drawn liquidity is equals to a reference point, meaning your order blocks, right, has the same potential as your old highs. Your old highs, as you want to see price take them out, right? You also want to see them as levels where price would return into for some form of support, Right. So old highs would hold price higher when we're bullish. So Asia's high plus order block, that's a stack of confluence. Right. And I was seeing this afterwards. Right. For this trade, I should have taken partials here. I got greedy and I wanted to see more movement, and then price took me out. Right. But taking out this high started to show how bullish price was. So I came in Asia session and I bought this move. Right. When I was buying this, I was looking at certain levels. I'm kind of just rushing through what I have done. I was buying somewhere inside of this candle, 21 o'clock, 2 a.m. is the macro for gold for Asia session. You would see movements at that time. So I was buying inside of this candle, and this was also my exit. But I kind of extended that exit to this order block. So what happened, right? Price expanded, took out this highs, and then when I woke up, price was back very close to my entry, and I just closed out that trade at break even. Now, sad because price eventually returned back into that order block. Now, what have we seen? We have seen continuous rally up on gold. But do you trust this rally? Do you think this is the rally that sends gold back into 5,500? Do you think this is a rally that's happening? I don't think so. And this is why. If gold is going to go lower, like I've explained on this channel multiple times, there are certain things we need to think about. First is the inflation story currently. Now, the thing driving inflation right now is oil. If oil is bullish, right, as we are seeing, right, in the past 2 weeks now, we've started to see, expansions. Oil has moved over 30% from the lows that it formed here 2 weeks ago. We have moved 31.8%. Meaning what? There's an oil shock. There's now a surge in the demand of oil. That's why oil is rising. If you go and check your Google or Safari right now and search US-Iran conflict, you'd see that things are hot inside of that news release or news headline, right? There's bombs going out, no ceasefire, in sight. And those are the things that we saw here that allowed oil rally, and we are seeing it again. So if that is happening, then inflation is currently all the way up there, right? If inflation is up there, how do we gauge that, right? Inflation being up would mean that the yields or the Feds cannot cut rates. So how do we check rates? We look at the yield market. If the yield market is higher, it means what the Feds are less likely to cut rates. And why is the yield market going higher? Because the Feds are looking to keep rates the way they high, with the way they are, which is high, contrary to the 2%, which is what the Feds will want. This is very high. But they won't be able to cut rates. Why? Because we have an inflation problem in our hands. At some point, I'll be able to go deep and explain all of how these things. I've done it sometime, but if the yields are going higher, what you want to understand is the Feds would not cut rates or would not be looking to cut rates, right? Everything is speculative, right? And the important notion with this is if this is going higher, dollar chases yield. Why? Because if the rates are going higher, if you are invested in bonds and you are seeing rates go higher, you psychologically you won't be looking to take out profits there. Right. This is not when you're thinking to take out profits because it's good. You're not looking to remove your money from something that is doing well. That's how it works psychologically. So what will happen? There is more demand for the dollar, right? If you're trying to borrow money, if you're trying to invest in the US bonds, the rates are attractive. That's what we just checked. The rates are attractive. So you want to give your money and people would be looking, it will be an attractive form of investment. So if you want to invest, what do we use to invest? Dollar. So we would see dollar rally higher when the yields are going higher. Now, in this dynamic, what should happen to gold? Gold should be what? Falling off. Gold should sell. Gold doesn't like a rising yield and a bullish dollar. It doesn't. So if we have that information and we're seeing gold rally, then there's a problem. And this is where my stance comes from. I see this run in here as an influence to buying decisions. That gold is pricing in all of these longs so that all of the individual shots can change up their mindsets. At this point, I was checking the sentiment charts and so many people were bearish on gold. Now, with these moves that we've had in the last 4 days, right, we will start to see this sentiment change. Just look around, look at Twitter. You start to see, people start to jump on gold buys, gold buys, gold buys. It's been extremely bullish in the last 2 days, and everybody wants to compare that already with this. But two things I want you to think about: has gold really broken market structure on the daily? My view, no. Right, we will need to start to take out this high, and we start to take out this high, and that would start to look bullish. Now, if that starts to happen, then my thesis is wrong, right? But gold and DXY going higher, one needs to crack. And the reason why I'm siding that gold is the one that cracks and goes lower is because everything that should make, or the dollar's buy side, is validated by the yield going higher, It's not just the 2-year yield, it's also the 10-year yield, extremely just, ravishing those highs. You can see it just expanding inside of here. And that's the story we've had all year. Just to give you context, right? We've had rising yield, and that has led to what? Bearish. That has led to bearish gold. So if we're seeing rising yield and bullish gold, it's called a degenerate market, right? But one needs to crack, and I think it's gold that I'm looking for that crack on gold. I'm looking for gold sales now. And the next question is, where are you looking to sell me? I think we hit a critical level today, right? Gold has had this trend line for weeks now that I've been looking at this one here, this trend line here, right? And we saw these moves just take it all out. So DXY is rallying higher. Gold is also running to take out this buy side, but I think gold is just seeking for a premium. Now, it's possible that we return back into levels like this, maybe this high, right? And maybe this OB. But for some reasons, I'm leaning to gold staying inside of this range. And the reason is because of this gap, right? When we had this gap, we saw price bounce inside of its rise, rally, then break. So we did not see a continuation from that gap. And from there, we've seen price from try to come back inside of that level, but fail. So I think if that holds, right, it makes more sense. We had a very good level that gold got to today, right? That would, that just considers sells for me, right? This is an untapped bearish order block, right? Look at that. We have up close candle breaking market structure. We never returned back all the way there until today, and the time that we got there was good. Look at that time, 10 o'clock. Right. So with this, right, I'm good to, start to look for gold sales. I like that after we got there, we've taken out this high. I would be engaging Asia session, and what I'll be looking for by 2 a.m. is I will be looking for sales. Right. I don't know where exactly yet, but I will be looking for sales. I shouldn't take that off. All right. I'm watching out for something inside of this range. Maybe this will be here or something above it, or I'm going to sell here and make sure my stops cover here and just see how that plays out. But I'll be looking at inside of range. If I take a loss, I'll take one more, where I would start to, taper down on that, on those sales will be if we take out this high, right? But for right now, I have my drawn liquidity right down to Asia's low of Wednesday, first target, right? This will be first target, and I would be looking at Tuesday's low as my draw for the week. Right. So this is kind of what I have. Very straightforward. I like that um I'm very clear on what I want to see. It's the type of way I want to trade. That way, even if I take a loss, I know that it follows, the plan that I want to take. And it wasn't like I was fidgety to get into the setup. I'm trying to just clean up my charts here so that I can see clearly. Right. So, but yeah, this is what I'm going to be looking for. Right. I'll be looking for a run back here inside of this range somewhere, and be aiming for sales, right? Sales back to this level here and all the way back to this level. Now, if DXY continues to go higher like I want to see, right? Let's go to DXY and let me just show you a few things there. I think I'll name this video "I Don't Trust the Gold Buys." I've been trying to work on my titles, but I just give it names that I feel in the moment, and that's why I'm going to name this one. Okay, guys, look at this. We have rally, 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 Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and at some point this afternoon, I was looking at this as, oh, could we see sales from here? But then talking with the team in by New York session, we have live sessions Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. We have psychology sessions Wednesday nights, Saturday nights, and it's been the best thing to happen this year to me joining the inner circle. It's just crazy the things that we do there. Right, but look at this. We've had rally, we had up close candle run on sell side liquidity, and then we are breaking market structure. So this is a breakout block, right? We saw price return back inside of it today, taking out London's low. This is London's low, 3 a.m. Price runs it out in New York session. I love that for New York session trades. And what I'm looking at with this is we see continuation to buy side, right? We see price just rally higher, right? Taking out this high first, and then reaching back into those highs. If that happens, then what is going to happen for a pair like GU, right? I will be looking for sales. Now, GU has two levels that are worth thinking about. The first one will be this OB here. This 4 hour OB, very, very important. So we have the breaker here. We have the 4 hour OB. It's going to be nice that we come all the way up here before we go lower. But what I want you to think about, or what I want you to consider is, it's very possible that it doesn't get there. Why? Right? And I'll show you. Right? When price is bearish, there are certain things we need to think about. Right? And one of them is there a breaker that has started the continuation? If price is heavily bearish, it doesn't need to seek deep discounts. So we already saw a return into that fair value gap, and we saw price rally all the way here, right? And did not take out that fair value gap again, right? Now, I'm not saying price can go higher here. I'm just saying there's a possibility that we could have started the selling here, and I'll show you why. Just stay with me for a minute, right? Look at this. So one of the things to note that happened today is that we saw that in New York session, GU was rallying, right? And this is London's high. I showed you how DXY took out London's low. So we should technically see GU take out London's high. Let's look at EU if EU took out London's high. Now, if we look at EU, EU took out London's high. So that is a clean divergence. When the divergence happens that one of the pairs out of the triad is doing the divergence, then it makes sense. So EU is the only one taking out, or GU is the one not taking out London's high here, right? And we're seeing this just fall off. And what we can attach it to is the run into that bearish order block, the daily bearish order block, this bearish order block here. The run into that bearish order block, right, was done from down here. This down close candle before the run up. Now we close below it, then it makes this an inversion level. And see how we've just been hanging out in there. This is one reason why I think, we don't need to go higher. Now, if we go higher, right, that would be an opportunity to still engage shorts, right? So that's one thing to think about here. For EU, primed for me for sales. I really like it, even though I don't trade EU. All right, let me take out this was prior. All right, we had breaking market structure, mitigation block, we returned back there, breaking market structure again, we returned back into the premium up close candle. It's kind of clear. The reason why I like trades like this is the moment you take out this high, I can give up on my sell thesis. So this is a good sell in here, and I think we're going to see continuation going into tomorrow, going into next week, right? We don't have a lot of news release this week, so you can see the market just consolidating. In fact, after we hit this high, we just saw price consolidated the rest of the day. Right, but this is how this pair plays. It consolidates, but it has done exactly what it needs to do. All you just see is boom. Look at that. Consolidation, 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 and then boom. Consolidation, 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 then boom. Consolidation, 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 then boom. So, all right, it's not a new thing for a pair like this to consolidate even at key levels. Right. So we can see that run coming. And these are the plays that I'm looking at. I talked to you about NAS. I talked to you about NAS on Monday, and I told you what I was looking at. I told you that I was watching out for this level, this OB inside of here. I said, returning back into that OB gives Nas a chance for a good sell. I am bearish. I am very, very bearish on this pair. I'm looking for, old lows to get tapped in. I was talking on the live session today, and I told one of the guys that trade us on the channel that price was somewhere around there, and I said, this is where I would love to buy. I'll have my stop loss around here. And that would have been a very good trade. I've not, got into my bag of trading NAS, but I would, do that. This trade got me almost 6%, which got me funded my 50K. Right. So I'm looking at that as a possible trajectory. I had this marked out too, but I didn't get into it. And this again marked out, I didn't get into it. What I'll be watching going into tomorrow will be if we can have something like this, a break below this low, a break below this low, a break below this low will make this a mitigation block, and then I would use that to aim for this lows here. Right. So guys, I just wanted to share my thoughts and experiences. I say experiences again, but I wanted to share my thoughts about what I think about the markets and going forward. Right. Let me know what you think. If it's alternates, that's totally fine. That's exactly what we're here for, to be able to jump our ideas on each other and see, how it bounces, and maybe we can learn a thing or two. I appreciate you guys that watch my video every single day. I've seen your messages, and you're close to my heart. You're close to my heart. As this channel grows, I would, and just, just say hi. Just say hi so that I can know who you are. I just know, just so I can know who you are and know how I know your username on YouTube. All right. Thank you guys. I would see you tomorrow. Bless up and have a profitable trading week.